Welcome back to Creative Thinkers. My name is Miguel Valenzuela, and today we have a very special guest. He is actually a Grammy winner. I want to welcome Roger Argenis. He is a Grammy winner, producer, and a musician. Roger, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So it's our pleasure, of course. I heard about you by looking at some Instagram posts, and I was really excited to hear that somebody from El Paso had actually won a Grammy and achieved something of this capacity. So we're excited to know a little bit about you, a little bit of history. And we generally start off with, how were you as a kid? Have you always been this creative?
I've always been creative. I've always just, I've always had dreams. I've always had ideas, and I think what's helped me is that I always execute on these ideas, even if they're kind of out there. They're a little crazy. Mm-hmm. So I was always very curious as a kid. I wasn't as creative until I was about middle school, mm-hmm. and once I discovered music, and then I started understanding, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I just kind of dove in without really knowing what I was getting myself into, for better or worse, right? But right. I think I feel blessed that I guess things have worked out okay for me so far, sticking and doing music. So that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool.
And how important has music been for you in your life since you actually started to get into it? You listen to music all your life as a kid, your parents listen to it, whatnot. But once you really start getting into it, what is the connection or the passion that you have for it?
Music literally changed my life. I feel music has been the longest relationship I've had in my, and it's the one thing that's always been there for me. So I've got, you in life, as we all go through life, there's ups, downs, there's all kinds of things that we face, but I've always held music, in my hand, and I've gone through whatever I've had to go through with music, right by my side,
Right.
So right. It's always been the most important thing, I feel, and it's really just, it's taking me to places that I never thought I'd ever be or live or get to see, mm-hmm. and so it's been quite a ride for sure. Music has changed my life in many ways.
And speaking about rides, I know that you've done a lot of things, and we talked a little bit in the pre-interview about the kinds of things, the kinds of ideas that you've thought of and how you went from one step to the other. And you said you kind of started tinkering with a few things when you were young, taking things apart. How does that transition into what you're actually doing, producing and kind of turning knobs on songs and whatnot?
Yeah, you know what? Now that you bring that up, or now because earlier I mentioned I used to get take VCRs and different electronics, mm-hmm. Put them apart, and then put them together.
Right.
It's
almost like practice, I would guess.
And eventually I stopped doing that. Nowadays it's very hard for me to fix anything really.
Right.
I don't really fix much, but
you fix music.
But I fix music. So I figure out, I put things together in music and in business, because I do have a business, which is my music academy. So I guess it taught me how to kind of reverse engineer things, mm-hmm. And so with music, I apply it to music, I apply it to business, and really anything that I do. So thank you for putting that connection together, because I was
it's my job.
Yeah, I wondered where did that part of me go? Because I used to be very handy. I like to fix things, and now I don't, but I guess I do in a different way,
Yeah,
so
I think that's cool. One of the interesting things about the way that people grow up and the way that people evolve, right? Because mm-hmm. evolution is extremely important in anybody's life. And I feel that the way that you have evolved from tinkering with things when you were younger into tinkering with things that are for our ears is a very special thing. But one of the other things that you mentioned to me is that you also have an academy here. What is that academy? Can you explain a little bit about it? How is that important for our community? Because it's very important, I think.
Yeah, so I have an academy called Soundstage 9. We just celebrated 10 years in business. Cool. It's been for me, I feel like I needed to do that, because I went through the music industry. When you pursue it on a professional level as a career, mm-hmm. it's a very rough place. It's a jungle. It's tough, and there's a lot of people that that don't necessarily have your best interests. There's a lot of people that prey on people's dreams, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel I personally went through very, very tough, very difficult situations that almost, as a matter of fact, I quit music for 2 years.
Really?
I wanted nothing to do with music because
that experience.
Because of that experience.
No way.
Yeah. So I've done music. I've been doing music for a while. So I eventually got signed, and I went through the whole getting dropped by a label, and not really. You know, I had recorded an album, and the album was never released. So it was very disheartening. So I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I think I'm gonna go pursue something else. I'm gonna go live a normal life and get a regular job, you know. And
what happened with that?
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. If you're a musician and if you're like me, you know that once the music bug bites you, and once music gets a hold of you, that's it. No matter how old you get, no matter what career path you choose, it will always bring you back.
Yeah, as Al Pacino said.
Yeah, it brings you back, and whether you like it or not, and whether you decide like, hey, you know what? People fight it off. They'll be like, no, like I have a 9-to-5 now. I'm a responsible adult now. No, you know, but then there's people like me that are like, okay, I guess I'll try it again, you know.
Right.
And I feel like there's a point in life that you've gone down this road so long, like for too long, that it just doesn't make sense to quit at that point. You know what I'm saying?
I think that makes sense.
And for me, at least, I felt that way. It was like, I've been walking down this path too long. It doesn't make sense anymore. Like, this is literally all I have. I have no degree. I have no like formal education, you would say,
but education is important, obviously.
It's very
we gotta
important.
Educate ourselves no matter what we do. If we want to be a scientist, if we want to be a musician, whatever, because that's what literally you have, right? An academy, which is teaching students.
Exactly. So I always support that. It's just that for me, because of my upbringing, like my life, like how it was complicated.
Right.
I didn't get the chance to, and for me, it was like I had to make a decision. Like, I have to go pursue music. I have to go on tour and do all that. I have to go all in, you know. But no, education is extremely important. You know, we have an agreement with my kids. You know, my kid's at Texas Tech right now.
Beautiful.
In college. He's pursuing music.
Oh, great.
In a different way though. He like music, and he wants to be a band director. He was really inspired by his band director and his team at Del Valle High School. So he wants to be that, and so he's out in college, you know. So I 100% encourage it. It's very important to get an education, and to have you know, something that will help, you know, in situations like this. Me, it was just, man, I have nothing to fall back on, you know. So I was like, I have to just figure it out.
So speaking of that, I think passion is very important. I know I'm a very passionate guy. For you, how did it play a part in what you do? Aside from the fact that you said, I just have to keep going because I have nothing else. I feel like what you're trying to tell us is that we need to follow our dreams.
You need to follow your dreams. You need to follow whatever you're passionate about. And it's the passion is what gets you up in the morning when you're having those rough moments, those rough seasons. If you don't have passion for it, it's going to be very hard to wake up in the morning and want to go do it again. You know? So I feel passion has been one of the most critical parts or elements in this, and me being able to now at this point, you know, you mentioned the Grammy thing, when you know, get to this point where now you get recognized on that level. I feel because there is so many ups and downs, you gotta be passionate about what you do.
Did you ever think that you were going to get to this level to win some sort of an award for what you actually do? How did it feel to actually get to that point?
It's still very surreal. I'm still trying to understand it. I'm still trying to digest it.
Right.
I never thought of it. I never thought about it. I'd be lying if I said I always dreamed of a Grammy or anything like that. I honestly just wanted to be a musician back then. I just wanted to play music. I fell in love with Metallica. You know, my dad introduced me to like Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin, Nirvana, Metallica.
That's kind of where you started.
That's where I started my passion, and but then Metallica just kind of really stood out. Kirk Hammett. I wanted to be Kirk Hammett. So I just wanted to play stadiums. I wanted to be the next Kirk Hammett and play stadiums. And that's all I thought about. I never thought about what would come with it. I never thought about money. I never thought about fame. I guess wanting to be in a big stadium, I guess, would be that. But that's all. I just wanted to play music, I guess. And so now that I get to like get through or go through these really cool events, and sometimes I'll find myself in the studio with people that I'm like, wow, like, oh my God, like, why am I even here? Like, what am I doing here? You know?
Yeah, you told me a story that after the Grammys, you were like in some kind of hallway or something.
Yeah.
And you ended up meeting the guitarist that you admired, or one of the Metallica.
Rob Trujillo.
Yeah.
So Rob Trujillo is Metallica's bass player, and so I was like, I got lost because once we won the award, they walk you through this like backstage. They walk you through these tunnels. I didn't realize that it was tunnels. We were just going through stations, like doing the official photos, interviews, this and that, and
all the background stuff.
All the background stuff that and then I eventually like finished, and I was trying to find my way back to my friends where everybody was at. And I remember I ended up like in another. So this particular event took place at the Peacock Theater, and the Grammys, the big ceremony was going to be at the Crypto Arena, which is right across the street. And so I ended up at the Crypto Arena, and I was like wondering where I was at. So I ended up making my way back, and I as I was walking out of like this hall or into this hallway, Rob Trujillo was standing there, and I'm like, wow, like this. I was like, hey Rob, you know. I was like, hey,
yeah, like how does that feel
at?
to say, you know, these people are inspiring me. They are these creative individuals who are producing all of this great material, and then eventually you end up in that place.
Full circle, like full circle moment. And like I'm telling you, it's one of those things that when you sit, like I'm always moving, I'm always doing stuff, I'm always running.
Right.
So I don't ever. It's very hard, or it's very rare that I get to sit there and like soak it in.
Yeah.
But whenever I do, which I did that night, I'm not gonna lie, I cried that night.
Wow.
I was with my wife and I cried because, and even I thinking about it, I get choked up because people don't know my background. They don't know like what I went through when I was a teenager. I was a very troubled, like I didn't have a lot of support. And I was like that awkward kid, you know, that I've been painting my nails since I was like 13, 12 years old. And I was like, back then it wasn't cool, you know?
Yeah.
Back then, like being a rocker or like looking a certain way wasn't cool. Like you were awkward, you know? Or you were considered weird. And so like I had like really, really like tough moments where, you know, looking back, it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm here, you know? And so for me, that night I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like this is crazy. So I did cry just because it all hit me. You know, I let it sink in. Yeah. And it just hit me like,
because
wow.
it was a long road. It wasn't like, hey, you know what? 2 weeks ago, I was sacking some vegetables inside the grocery store. And then now I'm like a Grammy winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a long road. And I wonder, now that we're having the conversation about it, I wonder how many of these musicians that have done something for themselves, achieved certain, you know, levels of notoriety, have gone through those things, and how that has propelled them into becoming who they are.
I feel it's necessary. I feel that, you know, we live in an era right now that where everything's instant gratification because of social media.
Right.
You have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have all these platforms, YouTube, and people are used to like seeing, or they're used to seeing people go viral, and all of a sudden just boom, they just blow up, they get famous. But you know, we were talking about building foundation. You know, it's hard to maintain that and to keep that if you don't have a strong foundation. You know, we're talking about the journey, and the journey is necessary. The journey is where you become the person that can deal with these things, where you don't lose your feet can stay planted, you know, like no matter what you do, no matter how cool, what award you get, it may not really do anything as far as like ego, right? Right. Because you know what it's taken, you know, it wasn't easy, you know, it was hard, you know, that there was a lot of loss, you know, there was a lot of casualties in the process. And so when you finally get to this moment, it's like, wow, this is awesome, this is really cool, but it doesn't define who I am.
Right,
you know?
right.
It doesn't. It's just something that you attach to your name,
Right.
And it's mainly people attaching it to your name, not necessarily you. But you are who you are, and what that journey shaped you to be, you know?
Right,
So
right.
I feel like, you know, these people have gone through that 100%. You know, you had like Chappell Roan, I believe her name is. You know, these
Lady
are
Gaga. I
Lady
know,
Gaga.
had
These are
went through-
artists
yeah.
that have been working for like at least a decade. They've worked really hard for this, you know. So it didn't just come, you know.
And
so,
I think that's one of the most wonderful things is that when we were talking earlier about this whole idea of passion and really having that foundation, I think that when we are individuals who focus on certain things, if it's the right thing, the end product is not the most important thing. It is the journey that creates that end product. And
Right.
that's what makes everything beautiful, I think.
yeah, it's just a byproduct of your passion and your work. You know, like a Grammy or whatever it is, that other recognitions or other things like that may mean something to people.
Right.
It's just a byproduct. You know, it's not why you do it. You know, I didn't decide to make music because I wanted a Grammy. You know, or it was just I want to make music. Like, this is what makes me happy. This is what I'm passionate about. Like, and I honestly feel like I didn't choose this. I feel like it chose me, because
That's awesome.
Anybody in their right mind
would
not be doing this, you know. And I say it to myself, and I say it to people. I wouldn't be doing this like if I were to choose.
Yeah.
You know?
What would you be doing?
I'd probably just be my wife says that I'm good at like
fixing VCRs.
fixing VCRs, like having a little. No, you know, she's a school psychologist, and so like stuff that, you know, I really like psychology, but I'd probably be doing real estate. I'd probably just be doing real estate. Before I decided to take a leap and just go all in, I worked at a company called City Financial, and I was a loan officer there.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I was like, I'm too young for this, to have this type of job. I'm gonna go try this music thing out, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna come back and get into and be a loan officer again. I really loved that job.
You know, that's interesting, because I heard Jim Carrey, I believe, say that the reason that he became a comedian is because his dad was really funny and he always wanted to be a comedian.
That's cool.
But his dad ended up being like an accountant or something.
Okay.
And then at the end of the career, or before the end of the career, he ended up getting fired. And he said, so I thought to myself, it's always best for me to try and have failed at something that I loved than to have never tried and failed at something that I hated.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's and you know, like I completely agree with that. But the thing is, I think I should have set a deadline. You know what I mean, for myself, because I think I just kept going. Like I just never knew when to quit. You know,
Yeah.
And I think that was like what really pushed me to this side of things.
Yeah.
But it could have been dangerous. Like I could have ended up like at some point I was homeless. I lived in my car.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Like
So it's an amazing thing then.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I've been down bad, like they say. You know. So,
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm blessed. Like I feel blessed that things shifted more. Like I ended up coming more to this side of things, because it could have been pretty bad. My life could have turned out like pretty sad, I think.
But thank God it didn't.
Thank God it didn't.
And now
I'm
you're
very
in a better
happy. I'm very
situation.
blessed.
Now, so we're in a show called Creative Thinkers. I try to interview creative people.
Yeah.
How important is it for everybody, the audience, to incorporate these kind of open ideas, stepping outside the box, being free to kind of think things in a different way? How do you think, or why is it important for them to do that?
I feel that that's what makes the world go around. You know,
in which way?
And just being able to, you know, you have all these people that are out there changing the world. You know, whether it's technology or music or film or medicine. It's people that think outside the box. It's people that are looking for solutions, and they say, you know what, we have these tools here, like we have these these resources in this box.
Correct.
And this is what we're given, but this doesn't work. What we're trying to do we don't have what we need for what we're trying to do. So how about we step out of the box and explore other options? And that's how you find solutions for other things, and then that's where I believe, like, you know, you have these people that end up, you know, like you have a Steve Jobs, for example. You know, you have Jeff Bezos, that are looking for solutions and stepping out of the box to find those, and I feel like that's what makes the world go around, for sure.
You know, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues not too long ago, and both of us are creative individuals, and he's like, man, I'm so far outside the box, I don't even know where the box is.
Yeah.
What do you think of that statement?
I think that's awesome. I think that's great. You don't want to be in a box. Like, that's boring, you know? And it's just like, it's in a way, it's kind of like a prison, you know?
Yes.
Being in a box is a prison. And for us that, you know, I think we're all creative. I think some people tap into it more than others. I think some people are more aware than others. We're all creative, though, you know? And that's where I talk about passion, and or finding your thing, finding whatever you're passionate about, because I feel like that passion also fuels the creativity, and it all it does is force you to step outside the box.
Absolutely. And one of the things is, at the end of the product, at least my way of thinking, is that it is something that brings us joy and happiness. It's like when we achieve that, then we have this fulfillment in many ways. So you've already fulfilled what I would assume is a dream of yours to this point. What's in the future?
Just make more music. For me, you know, with Soundstage 9, I do it because I want to create leaders through music, but I also want to establish, like, I work, it's kind of silly. People laugh, like my friends and, you know, whoever I share this with laugh, but.
Well, about what?
Okay, so specifically. So I respect a lot of, like, the greats. You know, you have, you know, Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. And, you know, I look back and I love watching, like, documentaries. I love watching videos, like, on YouTube, like interviews and just how things were created. And I worry about, like, you know, we've lost a lot of them and we're going to continue to lose them. Who's next? Like, who's next? Like, where are the greats? Who are going to be the greats? I consider, you know, like Adele, one of the greats for the next generations. Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga. But then where's everybody else, you know? So I feel like it's a duty of mine with Soundstage 9 to work with these young musicians to get them to eventually become not the next Bruno Mars, not the next Prince, but the you know, you'll have the next Bash Rivera, which I and you're gonna have these kids that are gonna set the tone, or these musicians that are gonna set the tone for the next generation, and so on and so forth. So right now I'm really focused on that. I'm focused on, you know, we're gonna work on a new album. We're gonna work on a new album during the summer with the kids. We're gonna be writing and producing songs with them, and it's gonna be strictly them performing it. And so I'm working on that. I recently just released a new album with a band that we put together, called Lucha Lucha. We just released our single No Me Preocuparé, and so we're right now we just started after the Grammys. We started really promoting the album because we made it literally. We got together to write a kids album, children's music. As we were preparing for Brillo Brillo with Lucky Diaz, we started working on our own album here. And we ended up, you know what?
And that happens to be the one that you won the Grammy for, the children's album.
Brillo Brillo, yes, exactly. And so we ended up putting this other album together called Cambios with Lucha Lucha. And so it was just a very, like, these songs have a positive message, but I didn't feel like they were enough or kiddie enough for it to be children's music. So I talked to the guys, they all work with me at Soundstage 9.
This is way too mature.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and even the sound of it. Yeah. And it was like, how about we start a band? Let's start a band, and we'll wear luchador masks, and yeah, let's just do it. And so we did it, and we actually just played our first show, or our first out of town show in Hollywood the night before the Grammys, the Whiskey a Go-Go. So that was really cool, and now we're gearing up to start, like, going on a full on, like, real promo tour and playing gigs and stuff. So
that's
awesome. That's what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's fantastic.
So we'll be doing that, promoting the album, doing the shows, and then getting ready for the new album for Soundstage 9.
That's great, man.
And then with Lucky, probably work on more music as well. So just a lot of music in general. That's
awesome.
what we're doing.
How fulfilling is it to create something for the masses that will make them, allow them, help them to be happy and to grow?
You know, when we're making these songs, we don't really think too much of the masses. It's just more of like, does this feel good? You know, does it feel good? Like, does it give us does it give a vibe? You know, and so, but when people connect to it and they enjoy it, it's like, man, this is awesome. Like, really cool. Like, it's incomparable. You know what I mean? So, we enjoy it. You know, I love it. There's nothing better than people connecting to
something that's beautifully fulfilling. One of the questions that I always ask my guests at the end or towards the end, because time runs out very quickly.
I know.
Really, really fast. Is there any advice that you could give our general public that's watching this? My advice is find your passion. Find that one thing you're passionate about. And how do you find that? You find it by what is something that you would do if money was no issue and you didn't have to worry about getting paid, and you is the one thing that you would do for free all day, any day. Find that and stick to that. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how difficult things may look, just stick to that. At the end of the day, I feel like that's where fulfillment comes from. That's where you feel alive, because you're doing what you're passionate about. You know, what's interesting is one of the things that I talk to my students about when I teach is I talk to them about how fulfilling art and creativity is, because most of them have been taught that art and creativity is not important, right? Yeah. And I tell them, you know, if at minimum art in whatever form, whether it be music, movies, paintings, whatever, makes you happy, then it did its job. Yeah. And I think that that's a wonderful thing for an individual to learn, because a lot of times we don't even know why we feel the way that we feel. And if we look at a little image on the internet, which was created by somebody, so it's a form of art, and it makes us happy, why not continue to do that over and over again? Because you never know where that's going to lead. Yeah, no, art is like, people don't realize, you know, for some reason, like you said, some people may not take art as serious as you would, you know, being a doctor or a lawyer. But think about it and pay attention next time. Pay attention to how many times there's music in the background. There's music doing, like, when you're doing something all day. You can't go a day without any music. True. It's that important. You know? Oh, it really is. You know, it's that important. It creates a mood. It creates an atmosphere. It creates it evokes emotion. It's necessary. Music is, and art in general, not just music. But I absolutely believe that. So if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that? Do you have an Instagram? Or Facebook Instagram. It's under Savers, SAYVERSE. Okay. And or Roger Argenis, all across different platforms. You can find me there. Beautiful. And it'd be awesome to connect. They'll check you out. Thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure getting some insight as to who you are and what you do. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you very much. I want to thank you guys for coming back and joining us every time we produce this show out for you guys. If you guys want to contact me, you guys can contact me at mvalen31@epcc.edu. And please make sure that you guys let me know if there's somebody interesting that I can interview for you guys. And we'll see you guys next time.